Hi, I'm Charlotte Curtis, Head of Adult Services for your Livingston Parish Library, and we're here once again in the beautiful main branch of the library, and today we're going to be talking about books with Sheriff Jason Ard. As you know, in this series we go around the parish talking with different parish leaders, and we ask them to share their thoughts about reading and to share a book that's been particularly significant in their life. Now, some of the people that you have seen or will be seeing are people that you might expect to be really concerned with reading. University professors, people that work in libraries, bookstore owners. I wanted to talk with someone in law enforcement because I happen to know just how important good reading habits are to someone who goes into his field. And the sheriff was kind enough to take time out of his very busy schedule and come in and share his book, his most influential book, with us. I think you may be surprised, and I know that I'm really looking forward to hearing what he has to say about reading and his influential book.
Well, thank you for having me. You know, I've always said books are a very important part of our life and upbringing. I wasn't always the best kid in my household, and so reading came to me later on as the older I got.
Mm-hmm.
But as a kid, you know, I was one of those that was, believe it or not, because of what I do, but I was drawn to the comic books.
Sure.
Loved, you know, the Spider-Man, the Batman, and all those kind of things.
We call them graphic novels now.
Oh yeah, graphic
Yes.
novels.
See?
But it was something that was just I was drawn to, and I still like to read old westerns and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And but as I had kids, you know, I got to go back and revisit some of the childhood things. And as you read, you know, to your children, you know, you have those memories of. I used to have the memories of my grandmother reading this book, or my mother, or my aunt, or you know, one of the older brothers. But sometimes very rare. But you know, we enjoyed those times together. And so to be able to share that with your own kids, and hopefully one day, not yet, anytime soon, that I can, you know, be able to share with my grandchildren. And one of the things that with what I do every day, my reading now consists of more boring things than anything else. Some people think that, you know, reading case files are interesting. They can be, but I do a lot of that, updated laws, law books, and you just have to know some of the stuff and keep up to par with it, because every year they changing, adding to, taking away from. So I'll do more reading now than I've ever did, and wish I'd have done more when I was a child. Probably would have maybe sparked a little more interest in the early age. But you know, you get to play catch up with your children and things of that nature. So, but I enjoy it, and I think it's very important for kids. And the old saying is still true today: the more you read, the more you know.
That's true.
And it's a really good thing to push to your children. And and I don't like putting the personal business on the street, but you know, I have two kids, and one battled a little bit with dyslexia.
Yes.
And one of the things that we practiced and taught him good reading habits, and believe it or not, which you can believe this because it works, he really came around and really helped him a lot to be able to do things like, we'll say, take you to see Spider-Man, but you got to read the book first. You read the book,
That's
we'll
very
see
clever.
the movie, and then he tells us after several movies that, you know, the books have so many more details. Can we go to the movie first and then read the book? So it was a lot of fun watching my kids grow up and being able to share the different books with them that we had when we were a kid. And this book here, the Green Tree has a lot of, the Giving Tree has a lot of, I think, life lessons in it, and it says a lot about, you know, one person not most, but there's some relationships where you have one that's giving everything, never asking for nothing, and one that's always just asking but never giving back. And it's and the other things that just kind of pop in your head and you visualize, and as you read through the book, and you can see it talks about a little boy that later becomes a young man, and an older man, and then an elderly man, and how, you know, life changes you, and sometimes you go through hard times. Everybody has that. Everybody that may think they have, everybody in every household has something going on, some type of sadness or trauma, pandemic, whatever. I mean, look what we're dealing with today. And it reminds me a lot of our first responders who give a lot. They never ask for anything. They give everything. And so those are little things that I really like about this book. And there's a lot of other books. And so when you're reading to a child and wanting to teach them things, you want to look for those type books that can maybe teach them a little bit of a lesson. And it's amazing, you know this, and whenever you see a movie when you're young or you read a book when you're young and then you read it 10 years later, it has such a different meaning. And then you listen to it, I'll read it again later on in life, and it has a different meaning. Just like a song. Songs when we were younger had one meaning, and as you get older they have different meanings because you've learned in life and you understand things. And when you're young you may not understand things. So I think that whenever you read books, read them again, and you'll be surprised as you get older. The true meaning of these books have different meanings as the older you get, and it's pretty interesting.
There's a lot of, it's like unpacking a suitcase. There's
Yes.
a lot there in a book to unpack.
It is.
I really am impressed with your technique for working with your son. I know while everything's been shut down during the pandemic, so many parents really had to step in and do an even more active role in their children's education
Right.
than they were used to. I didn't like to read when I was growing up either. I know that's heresy, but my mother had a similar technique to your mama.
Right.
She would set the timer and I had to sit and read to her while she cooked for 15 minutes. And after a while, you just figure out how to do it, and
Right.
then it becomes fun.
Right.
So that's wonderful, and I really like the way that you underscore how important it is for parents to encourage their kids to read
Yeah.
and have fun, because
Yeah, and they also have I mean, kids nowadays have a lot more than opportunity to read than we had. When we read as kids, you had to try to find a library. Most of them were at schools. Try to bring a book home from school. I mean, you didn't have it at your fingertips like you do now. You can actually do things from home and not taken away from anything in the library, because I think it's really important to still support the library and come here. But it's just they have so much more opportunity than we did, which those opportunities come with many challenges as well.
You're going to have to watch some of the Technology Tuesdays we're going to be running during the summer, because we're going to be showing you we have legal databases, medical
Right.
databases,
It's such a
travel
still-
databases,
and people-
Rosetta
yeah.
Stone, all kinds of things.
And
So
the library is still a place to come and do so many do research. I mean, there's so many opportunities
we're
here
more
with
than
your
books.
library.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. And we didn't have all these libraries when I grew up here in Livingston. Now they're everywhere.
Well, the parish
And,
has supported us so much,
yes.
and that's why we're able to have 5 branches, and then a bookmobile even that goes down into
Right.
to reach the shut-ins and to the more remote parts of the parish. So we couldn't do what we do without the support of all of the people here in the parish.
This
So-
is just a great opportunity for our kids, and it's just a great thing for the parish. It really is. We're very lucky to have it.
I know you do a lot of work with the 5th grade, and I think that that's such a important year. They're right on the cusp, stepping into middle school, which I think is just one of the most challenging periods in anybody's life. I don't think you
Right.
could pay me enough to go through middle school again.
Well, we use our DARE program to actually go in and deal with teach our 5th graders just a lot about healthy choices and good decision making. We touch a little bit on bullying that goes on, and hope that my greatest hope out of all of that is for to these deputies can be somewhat of a mentor to these kids. But we're only a little very small part of what's going to happen when they get into middle school. So 5th grade is a great target age because we do have their undivided attention. And as they get older, you start losing that attention
Yes.
very quickly. And so we try to set the tone, set the stage, however you want to say it, for the parents. And the things we stress the parents is good role models, because that's how they learn their bad habits, from role models, the people they look up to. And that's what you want to try to encouraged from the parents, good role models, and you teach the kids about role models and good decision making and healthy choices, peer pressure, things of that nature. And then when we do the transition at the graduation, and I get to speak to the parents and grandparents, just say, you know, those are the things that we want them to understand. And I always say there's three things that, and it hasn't changed since I've been doing this many years, is good role model and good communication. You gotta have communication with your child, and never lose that, and as well as church. And I firmly believe that. And those three things, if you can keep your kids in those healthy activities and keep those things in the back of your head, I think that in practicing, that you can cut down on a lot of issues and problems that may arise with a young teenager or even a young adult. Because you know, again, they have many challenges. It's not only in high school, but when you venture off into college, which I have two kids in college now. One's fixing to graduate college at Southeastern. The other's just completed her first year at Southeastern. So there's many challenges in the college world too. So I just want my kids to know that I want to know as a parent that I've given my kids those tools to make good decisions. Unfortunately, I can't make it for them.
No.
But they have to make their own decisions. But knowing that they have good morals, they understand, you know, our relationship with God. They understand the importance of role models and the importance of communicating with, you know, their parents, and us as well as parents understanding that communication part and those other aspects of it as well. It just gives you a little peace at night.
It does. It does.
And having a dad as a sheriff is not always the greatest thing.
No.
Because, you know, growing up 28 years in law enforcement, I tend to focus on a lot of the bad things we see, and so you always worry about your kids because you know what's really out there because you see it every day.
Yes.
But you sometimes can get focused on that and forget that there is a lot of good. There is more good than bad. There really is. But we're all drawn to the bad. We can't help it. That's just the way it is. When I say to the bad, just that bad news or whatever is going on that just strikes your attention and you kind of overlook the good stuff that's going on.
Well, one reason people like me can look at the good stuff is because we know that we've got people like you that are out there keeping us safe from the bad stuff. So thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So please come to your Livingston Parish Library and check out a copy of the Sheriff's recommended book, The Giving Tree. It is wonderful. I've read it myself, and I've read it to my kids, and I love it. I agree totally with what you say, that it's very interesting because you get to follow someone through the course of a lifetime, right. And things really, really do change. And I also am excited that you picked a children's book, because very often people think that children's books aren't important, and I would argue that they really are, because not only are they teaching kids good reading habits, they're filled with all kinds of life lessons, particularly when they've got a loving parent or grandparent or friend or mentor reading it to.
Right. Well, I think you teach your kids at a young age to read, and you read them certain books. Like I said earlier, one day they're going to have kids, and they're going to read those same books, and they're going to have a different meaning and understand a little bit of what their parents were trying to say. And it's just a, you know, a book's an opportunity to communicate with your child. It's a form of communication if you play it right.
Well, you're saying this is, I endorse this. This is what I believe.
Right.
And it's a very good message. So, well, thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us.
Appreciate it. I appreciate being here.
Okay. All right. Thank all of you for being with us today for talking about books. Don't forget that we have one of these new videos coming every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. No, excuse me, crafts are at 1 o'clock. Talking about books is on Thursday. We're doing so many exciting things this summer through our virtual reading program that I got confused there for a minute. Talking about books is on Thursdays at 1 o'clock. They're all archived, so if you can't watch us live at 1, you can always tune to our Facebook page or to YouTube and see the interview there. Again, thanks so much for joining us. Goodbye.